Very briefly, I want to discuss about IUPAC nomenclature for organic compounds using the compounds from the JAMB past question series. And basically, there are two steps involved in naming most of the compounds in the JAMB past question series. First step is for us to identify the largest carbon chain, the longest carbon chain, whether it is a linear chain or a branched chain, as long as it is the longest continuous chain. Now the second step is to assign numbers to the chain that we have identified in step 1. The longest chain that we identified in step 1, we're going to assign numbers to them such that the lowest numbers are given to the functional group, multiple bond, and substituents. Now, in JAMB questions, most of their compounds have 3 parts, namely the prefix, the word root, and the suffix. For instance, 3,5-dimethylhexane. In this compound, the 3 parts are shown in this compound. In this compound, we have 3,5-dimethyl as the prefix, we have hex as the word root, and we have ane as the suffix. Now let's talk about word roots. Basically, the word root, it tells us the number of carbons in the longest carbon chain. The longest carbon chain that we said we were going to identify in step 1 must have a total number of carbons. Now, if it is 1 carbon, it is meth. If it is 2 carbons, it is eth. If it is 3 carbons, it's prop. 4 carbons is but. 5 carbons is pent. 6 carbons is hex. 7 carbons hept. 8 carbons oct. 9 carbons non. Then 10 carbons dec. That's for the word root. Now for the suffix, the suffixes are usually either in, or ein. Now, if it is a single bond, if the compound is riddled with single bonds alone, then the suffix will be in, just as we had in the example that we showed earlier. The suffix here is ane. Hex, which is the word root, meaning 6 carbons, then ane, which is the suffix, meaning a single bond. Now, if it is a double bond, it will be in, and if it's a triple bond, it will be ein, meaning the suffix. Now, let's talk about the prefix. The prefixes are usually alkyl. Most of the time they are alkyls, but at other times they are not. Sometimes they can be halogens, but if they are alkyls, the alkyls that JAMB normally uses, that JAMB uses are usually around methyl, ethyl, and propyl. Sometimes, but for the most part, they use the first 3 alkyls. And the first one is methyl, which is CH3. Second one is ethyl, which is C2H5. It can also be written as this. Third one is propyl, which is C3H7. fourth one is butyl, which is C4H9, and the fifth one is pentyl, C5H11, up until the last, the 10th one rather, which is decyl, which is C10H21. So how we come by the alkyl groups is that we remove one hydrogen from a corresponding alkane. So we arrive at our alkyl. But basically, you don't need to stress yourself too much. I think just know the first three, or the first four, or the first five alkyl groups. Those are the most important ones that may feature on the exams. Then at other times, the prefixes are halogens, such as Cl, which is chloro, from the element chlorine, F, which is fluoro, from the element fluorine, Br, which is bromo, and I, which is iodo. So, having established that background, let's see what we can do as regards examples.